Yes, I want to speak to you about some questions people have often asked me. How are we doing in Sri Lanka? This was Sri Lanka's strategy, that we isolate every COVID positive person and we self-isolate or send to quarantine everyone who has had contact with the infected person. As a result, clusters came up in different places. You would have heard the areas like Putlam and Berula and so on. And each cluster was strictly surveyed with surveillance so that they will not go out of the cluster to infect others. Then we got to the stage of doing sentinel testing, that is in a cluster, just randomly certain amount of tests are being done, and then some clusters yielded positive within the cluster. So the theory is that within the cluster they were contained with surveillance. Then of course food and other supplies were given, our PHIs went and tested, and then Sri Lanka managed to, and we are thankful to the government for that efficient implementation, and we are thankful to our people who largely observe the discipline, and in that cluster they were kept isolated, and now some clusters have been released, like Atulugame in Berula was released as safe. Then others who were infected were taken in. Thankfully we had only 7 deaths, and our medical staff, nursing staff, other staff have very diligently risked their life and treated those who went into hospitals, and then we have identified COVID treating hospitals, quarantine centers and so on. And we had quite a bit of a miracle that in many quarantine centers, when they were sent for quarantine, there was no spread in between ping pong. That is a great help. Then our army was very diligent on this. Then we find now, when we are testing and new tests are coming, the DGH has reported that the viral load in the new testing is lower, which means that concentration of the virus in the infections is coming down. That is also we are thankful about that. Then we find that the BCG vaccine everybody that gets in Sri Lanka must have contributed cellular immunity. It's called trained immunity of macrophages. If you want details, I have written about it. I can send you. If you need technical details, please send a WhatsApp to plus 94 77 49 59 214. Sri Lankan number is 077 49 59 214. If you send a WhatsApp number and ask for details or any written things that you want to see, you can also go to my blog, Dr. Lalith Mendis blog.wordpress.com. Yes, you can find more technical details. We can also send you links and so on if you want to be connected on this issue. So the BCG vaccine seems to have provided immunity for this, and there is a study going on in the Massachusetts University. Some students and lecturers have got together and observed this in countries where the BCG vaccine had been given, the infecting rate has been less. We also used hydroxychloroquine early, and so that's helpful. Issue is whether in concentrated places of clusters whether hydroxychloroquine should be used as chemoprophylaxis. It's not being done. There are no clinical trials on this. At present, at the behest of President Trump, all over USA hydroxychloroquine is being used. If you are a medical person and you want to know the action of chloroquine, you can contact me. I was the head of pharmacology in a state medical faculty, so maybe I may be able to help you in that understanding. So there's a ding-dong battle in the US because we can. So the issue arises, many are asking, where did the virus arise from? The latest finding is of the virologists is that a bat coronavirus its spikes have been changed. So there's the RNA piece of the virus, then there are proteins around that RNA piece, and in this particular CoV2 virus, the spikes are very prominent. So in the bat coronavirus also has spikes, but in this virus, the spikes have been manipulated or made to penetrate human cells. Now that cannot be a natural mutation, is what the biologists say. So you have to change the nucleotide sequence of the RNA to change the nature of the spikes. The spikes of CoV2, this COVID-19, penetrates human cells, particularly the human cells which have ACE2 enzyme receptor, which is in the lung, in the red blood cells, kidney and gut and so on, mostly in the lung and red blood cells. So the spike protein has been changed to do this, the terrible, devastating sickness. Who did it? No answers. So then President Trump and WHO is in fisticuffs. The fact is that world over there have been vaccine trials that went wrong. And many of those vaccine trials were funded by the Bill Gates Foundation. For instance, between 2010 and 2017, a new polio vaccine was tried in India. 454,000 kids got paralysis. The vaccine went wrong, and the WHO admitted to it. In Australia, there's a sharp decrease, and we are very thankful that Prime Minister prayed for the whole country also, and we are expecting that Australia will have some good trade ties with us. Then there is this issue, people ask, where is God at this time? The fact is that we did many things without God. And when a time like this comes, people ask, where is God? The main thing is you have to come to a ideological decision whether God is there or not. If God is there, that means only matter is there. Matter came out of nothing. Molecules came out of nothing, energy came out of nothing, and energy and molecules got together and made this wonderful world, including the intelligent human being, is the way you will have to think if you say there is no God. You have to make that decision. If you believe that there is God, as I do believe, I was also once a person who did not believe in God, but after examination I came to believe that God must have been the reason, the way the design came about, the molecules and all that. So that's a long talk and a long journey. So the other explanation is that we work it out with God. Why is there suffering? Why is there evil? We work it out with God. So if you don't believe in God, no point asking where is God at this time. You got that? You first decide whether the world came by itself. If you say the world came by itself, you have to handle all the problems of the world, the injustice, suffering, diseases, COVID, all on the basis that there is no God. If you come to a conclusion, I don't think the world could have come to itself by itself, there must be someone, then we get on to the theistic side of explanation. So that's a little explanation I thought is due. Is there anything else that I want to say in this little thing from what people have been asking? Yes, that's about it. So we are hoping the world will do better. We are hoping that after COVID there will be a more sober world. We know that many things that people did, now they can't do. And the sin industry, so to say, has really come down. So we have to make our decisions. How do we face up to the world after COVID? We are very happy that our tea auction is doing well. Our rubber, our coconut is bouncing back. And we are hoping when Japan thinks of relocating some of their industries or agro-economical investments, that lock, stock and barrel, they come to Sri Lanka. I'm sure you're also hoping like that. When are we going to open? Is it wise to open or not? I don't know. These are not in my field of expertise. We hope our government will decide well, as they have decided very well up to now. We are very thankful for that.